Call Show live from Orleans, Massachusetts, in Cape Cod, home of the Pilgrims. And here we are. And just checking out the position from yesterday. Let's go to the Thinkorswim screen and we can take a look at it. So I came in yesterday almost 400 deltas in Square, which was a little scary. Now, my thought process here is essentially I'm just playing for a bounce. This has had several down days in a row, and I figure it can't go down forever. It's got to get some kind of bounce. There's the chart for the last, I'd say, like month or something like that. And just trying to see if I can hear myself here. And so the way I got long was I bought some calls. If we look down here now, I bought some of these December 65 calls with the thought of, all right, I'll buy these calls, and if it goes up a little bit, then I will sell some weekly calls against them to kind of flatten out my risk. And so that's kind of the position I have accumulated, is from selling something against the calls I bought. And it's kind of a little bit of it's kind of like a little bit of a mess, this whole position. Look at all this stuff. It's like short one thing and long another. But the essential Greeks are right here. It's showing me long 126 deltas here, short 38 gamma. That means as we move higher, the delta will decrease. As we move lower, the delta will increase. And another way of looking at that position, of course, is to look at a risk graph here. And this kind of shows you, all right, well, between essentially 65 and 76 or something, we're in good shape. Actually, maybe between 70 and 76. It looks like not a good position from this particular chart, right? The way it's laid out, it looks like there's only that little thin margin here where we're actually making money, and everything else we're losing money. But that's not the real story. The real story is that this chart just looked like a straight upward slanting line, and then I sold some stuff against it to kind of lessen my delta somewhat. So my plan today is essentially to slowly unwind this a little bit. Some of these trades I put on because this account has less than 25,000 in it, and instead of selling out a call that I bought, which would count as a round trip, I've sold out a strike near it. So, for example, in this case, you can see here December 65 calls. Instead of selling the December 65 calls back out that I bought yesterday, which I would have preferred to do, I sold the 67 calls. That way I don't get a round trip hit for pattern day trading. And some of these other options trades are similar thoughts. But the essential strategy here is that we are bullish on Square, and we think it will, as the market kind of comes back a little bit, Square will come back as well. Just overall, the market, we had a big sell-off on Friday, right? Today's Tuesday. Here's the charts here of the NASDAQ. We had a big sell-off on Friday after comments from the Fed, right? You can see that right here. I'm sorry, did I say today's Tuesday? Today is Wednesday. Monday, not much happened, and Tuesday we kind of broke down again, right? And so after that second breakdown, here is where I determined I would play for a little bit of a bounce, right? Bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news. Let's play for a little bounce. Square, during that similar time frame, we can see here. And if we get rid of some of these other, same thing, Friday, boom, way down. Tuesday, again down, and down in here, played for a bounce. But it got ugly for a minute. It was right around this area right here where I bought the calls, and you see it rallied a little bit, but then it sold off again. So it was like I was kind of bumming out down here, but then we rallied into the close, and I was able to cover some of my calls up here right before the close. So everything kind of worked out as far as that goes. So that's kind of like my thought process here. I'm still kind of bullish this stock, so probably the strategy today would be to extend the long delta a bit. So the way I would try to do that is, because if we look at this chart here once again, if it goes up a little bit, we make money, but after that we start to lose money. So my strategy would be to buy in some of the calls we're short so that this chart starts to look a little bit more like just a straight upward line. So for example, we can take a look at doing certain things. So we are short 8 of these September 70 calls that expire on the 9th. Let's see what happened if we bought in a couple of those. So I'm going to go to the chart. I'm going to go to the option screen here for September 9th. I'm going to find that call. Here we're short 8 of these. So let's make a trade. Let's pull up a trade of us buying back 2 of these calls. So I'm going to put 2 here. I'm going to right click on the trade and I'm going to select Analyze Trade. Okay. So if I kind of pull this up here, we can see what would happen to our chart here if we bought 2 of these calls in. Let me see if I can adjust the scale of this chart just a little bit so that it's easier to see. I wish I was better at doing this, which I'm not. But anyway, and you can see on our deltas here. So here's the delta before we're doing anything. If we were to buy 2 calls in, all of a sudden we go from being short 126 to 227, which makes sense. They're at the money calls, 50 delta calls. We buy 2 of them, it's going to get us longer by 100 deltas. Okay, what if we bought all 8 in? If we bought all 8 in, now we're long 500, right? And you can see just a straight upwardly sloping line. However, we're not collecting any decay, and our downside risk, look at this, down 10%, we lose a lot of money, right? So that, I mean, that's obviously the risk of having a big delta. Down, you lose money. Up, you make money. So buying all 8 in might not be a good idea. What if we did nothing? Now, doing nothing can often be the best strategy, right? If we do nothing here, well, let's see. The stock closed 69.05. Now it's 70, so it's up $1, right? And we're long 126 deltas here, so up $1. We, according to this, we made $100 plus we'll collect $100 theta. So do nothing. If at the end of the day the stock's here, according to this, we should make around $200 today. Not bad for doing nothing, right? However, there's no indication now before the open that the stock's going to stay at exactly at 70, right? So the question is, what do you do? And now my idea with this is the stock is that it's going to come back upward at some point as the market recovers. So too will the stock. It is in many ETFs and baskets of stocks that when the market goes up, they buy this. So if the market goes up, this is going to go up. And if we go back out to a year chart, you can see it came from way up here, 276. There's no guarantees it's going to go back to 276. However, 69, it's got some room to the upside, right? So, and the calls that I was long, these December calls, there's some time till expiration, right? There's, let's see. If you look down here, you can see the days till expiration. There's 107 days till expiration on these December calls. So there's a case to be made to just buy the calls and do nothing else, right? You're just long. You're long this. You're using options to be long the stock, and I don't think that's a bad strategy. However, to enhance that strategy, you could sell some calls that are way out of the money against it. So, for example, the 16th September expiration, we could go up to, let's say, the 80 strike and sell some of these 80 calls for $1. And that's just going to add income to this position as it moves around, slowly moving higher. That's kind of my thought. Now, I've been much more aggressive than that in that I've sold sort of almost at the money calls against this position, slightly out of the money calls against this position to collect theta alongside of having a long delta. And that's kind of my basic strategy. It's not a complicated strategy. It's playing for a bounce in the overall market using Square. These options are somewhat liquid, and we'll see how it goes from here. In other market news, BBBY, I was talking about this earlier. These it's not been an easy run lately for these meme stock guys, right? If you were hanging out looking for the mother of all short squeezes in BBBY or AMC, you've gotten smoked, right? Because look at this price action here. All the way up to 30, and then it just got smoked. And then you had this other shot 2 days ago. Oh, it got all the way up to 15, and then smoked again, back down to 9, right? So not great if you're long this. Same with AMC. Look, June, July, you're hanging out. August, boom, makes this big move up to 28, and then smoke city back down again, right? So GameStop has sort of hung in there a little bit better, but wouldn't be surprised if this one gets smoked down to 22, right? Seems to be the trend with these meme stocks. So all the people talking smack in the meme stock chat rooms, and, we're going to take on the big hedge funds, and we'll show them, and, I'm using my, getting tendies and all this stuff. Remember all that stuff last year? Well, it didn't end up working out, and I was the bad guy coming on and saying, maybe you shouldn't be buying, instead of picking GameStop to buy, maybe buy a company that actually makes something, that sells something that's profitable, that has a future. And, people were very angry at me for saying that. But how have you done in GameStop since in the last year, right? If you bought it in March last year, you're in the same spot now as it was March last year. So that doesn't seem like obviously 2020 hindsight, but it didn't turn out to be a great use of capital buying GameStop, unless you made some real fortuitous scalps here, right? If you bought it 19 and then sold it 47 here, and then bought it again 22 and sold it 47 again here, then you could have done great. Wouldn't it be great if you could know ahead of time what was going to happen? But we don't, and thus makes trading difficult. All right, so that's my gabbing for the moment. I appreciate people coming on and checking stuff out. You can hear me, right? You can Al, can you hear me? Are you still there, Al? Anyway, that's where we are. Nasdaq up 117. E-minis up 21 as we move into the market open today. And we'll see how this position works out. I'm considering just getting a little bit longer as we move into the day here in Square, or if we get a pullback. And that's kind of where we are. Quick look at the VIX and term structure. Hey, Al, good. Thank you for your feedback. VIX been hanging around here. Diamond hands, yes. UVXY has been hanging in this range. I did put a short position on UVXY at some point last week, buying a put spread when it was around 10.15 and getting back out of it when it was around 9.70 or something. It was this down move here somewhere, but kind of cautious with it. It's made some nice down moves lately. If we do quickly look at the term structure here before we get out of here. Term structure looking very just normal. So not a lot of fear on the horizon when you look at the term structure as it is right now. Best of luck to trading for everybody. It feels like we will at some point kind of turn around and do just this kind of slow grind upward again as the smoke kind of clears from all the excitement with the Fed recently. I know the next big thing out there is how much does the Fed raise next time? Is it a half point? Or is it 3/4 of a point? Or is it a 1/4 of a point? I'm thinking it will be a half point. but there will obviously be some fireworks with that. But that doesn't happen for another week or two, so we have a little time to maybe rally a little bit. We'll see what happens. Thanks for checking this out. I'll see you in the next video. You guys are the best. I appreciate you.